Shalom, dear Mishkanite. Shalom, shalom, Israel partners, and welcome to Koh Samui in Thailand. We just got off a ferry taking us from Koh Phangan to Koh Samui. Very much reminded us of the Torah portion of this week. We're talking about the Torah portion of Noah, and when God decided that the people of the world were too awful, too many sins, and He's going to just destroy the world. But He still came to Noah and his family and asked them to take all the animals with them in an ark. So He wanted to save them so He can have a restart, a fresh start for the world with righteous people. We just got off this ferry ride and was crazy, chaotic. There were high waves. Maybe you can see me, I'm still very wet. The water came into the ferry. It felt very much like the Torah portion of this week. So we're reading the second Torah portion in the Bible. It starts with the story of Noah and the ark and how God wanted to destroy the world, but then yet saved Noah. And then we continue with the story of the Tower of Babylon. After the world was spared, the people started to multiply, and yet again they spoke one language, and their plot was to reach all the way to the heavens to get to God's chambers. So God decided that this is a time to get them to be scattered around the world, to change their languages, and to just make sure that they cannot coordinate any act like this. And yet it continues from the story of the destruction of Noah. It continues all the way. The last part of the portion is talking about Abraham and his family getting out of this world of adultery and worshiping idols into a new world that he wants them to go. So the beginning of the journey of Abraham from Ur of the Chaldean towards the promised land is also in this Torah portion of this week. And it's very symbolic, that I'm here in Thailand and we were traveling around almost everywhere, and we understand what it means if you cannot speak the language, because you cannot talk, you cannot coordinate, you cannot really communicate. But I feel that the wrath of God is calming down a little bit right now, because almost everywhere we find people that can speak English, one language, we can start to coordinate in one accord. So I believe that things has changed. It's beginning to change. The things are going for the betterment of human life, just like the story of Abraham that started to follow the word of God and go into the promised land. I think there's a lot of similarity of what's happening in Israel right now. Unfortunately, with the politics, what's happening in the international arena, it seems like everybody speaks a different language. There's no agreement. There's a lot of disagreement, actually. You see now the American Secretary of State is talking with the Russian Secretary of State, trying to coordinate things about Iran deal. Israel is out of the story, while Israel is the whole issue, because Iran is intimidating Israel and threatening to destroy us, and Israel is not part of this conversation. I'm just praying to God that we'll find the right unity. We will be able to get into this deal. We will be able to influence it and make sure that Israel is safe again and there's no risks for the country. And also praying for unity in the government, praying for unity between Israel and America, between the world and Israel, praying actually for God's will to be done on earth like it is in heaven. So that's something that we should pray about. We should keep on sowing into Israel, helping the situation in Israel, because you all understand this is the address for the final date. This is the address for rapture. This is a place that we need to be secure, safe, so God can come down, sending His Messiah and reign from His beautiful city of Jerusalem. I love you a lot. Shabbat Shalom. And if you're not yet our partners, join in. Be a part of the change we're making in Israel. Bye for now.